Yeah, we designated spitters live every week. Live, designated homie, cause we spit heat. We designated spitters, Francis and Pete. Yes, talking Yankee baseball, hip-hop for the streets. Yup, we designated, yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated spitters, time that you know. Yup, we designated, yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated spitters, let's start the show.
Yes, we are the designated spitters. It is I, Pete Simonetti, and of course, Francis Lee right here. I'm feeling great. Francis, I know you are not feeling the same.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather. Got a little bit of a bug, but we here, and that's the most important thing. Francis Lee reporting for duty.
With that being said, I want to pause us for 1 second and show everybody right down there. You see the subscribe button and click the little jingle there, the bell, whatever the hell it is, so you guys never miss anything that we do at this channel, because guys, we have just passed 7,000 subscribers and we have a goal to hit 10K by April. Baseball could definitely help us by coming back and letting us do our thing, but until then, we still gonna do our thing. That's kind of what the designated spitters do. We're still able to do our thing no matter what is in our way. We will make it work. That is our call to action for you guys. But
can't lock us out, man, Fred.
Can't lock us out. No, they can lock the players out and all that nonsense, but they ain't gonna lock us out. We're gonna figure something out. But we do got some things to talk about, starting with number 1, and let's jump right into this Hall of Fame discussion. David Ortiz is the lone inductee into the Hall of Fame. So, Francis, I'm gonna let you talk about your fellow Dominican, David Ortiz, entering the Hall.
Yes, sir. De lo mío, de verdad. But first thoughts, I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna start with love. I'm gonna start with, congratulatory vibes. I want to congratulate David Big Papi Ortiz on entering, the Hall of Fame. I want to congratulate, his family who has been there with him throughout the entire ride. Shout out to them. I think this is an amazing accolade, to say the very least. I think he should be proud of himself and his accomplishments. And I think us as Dominicans, we are, very proud on this day, and we'll be even more proud on the day he's actually, inducted with the ceremony and everything, to have another one of ours in there representing us, probably as well as you can represent, the Dominican Republic as a culture. So shouts out to David Ortiz. It's a good thing for him, his family, good thing for the Red Sox organization. But like I was saying before, I think it's an even bigger thing for the country of the Dominican Republic and for baseball. It's a huge, huge thing for baseball in general. But I think it's a great look for my fellow countrymen. But like you said, he's the lone guy who got in, and I wanted to make it a point to start with the congratulatory vibes, because I think from here, everything's probably going to go left with the way I feel about it.
To a degree. And no fault of David, too. No real fault of Big Papi.
Exactly.
That's what we want everybody to understand. Because I do want to share this real quick, too, Francis. David Ortiz also said that, guys like Clemens and Bonds and these guys do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think we all agree with that. And hell, I mean, Ozzie Guillen, who you guys know is now part of our show. Shout out to the Guillens world. They are, Ozzie made some statements a while back saying he doesn't believe that Ortiz should be a first ballot Hall of Fame because there's other guys that do deserve to get in ahead of him with the conditions of the things that have also happened and been said about them. And I tell you what, bro, the Dominicans went in hard on Ozzie. Hard body on Ozzie. You can't talk about it, but let me have you continue, because I know I'm going to go on a little rant, because you know what, people, if you don't notice about me, I have a special love for DR. My fiance is 100% Dominican. And I've always spent time in DR. Love to go. My bachelor party's going to be in DR. I love DR. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. Tell my fiance all the time. It might be passing Italy for like second home of where I like to go to. But everything about DR culture and everything, yes, it's amazing for Dominican Republic that Papi enters this way.
Oh, yeah.
It's also very unfortunate for him because he's in the middle of like crossfires that he has no reason to be a part of. Not his fault. So I'll let you continue your thoughts, and then I'm definitely gonna have a lot to say about the guys who are not in.
Yeah, and we'll probably be ranting together, man, because I
I'm
think,
sure.
initially when this came out, I remember sending the message to the group chat, and it wasn't even like I said, my vibes weren't congratulating David Ortiz. I just was like, David Ortiz is the only one that got elected.
Right.
And I couldn't. I said it with just disbelief, because I was just like, I can't believe like you guys are really gonna screw it the pooch this terribly, and they don't care.
They screwed the pooch.
Yeah, they don't care.
Pooch.
They don't care. They really don't give a damn. It's like these baseball writers are, you said something that was really interesting, and you said it several times. And I don't know if people always catch it, but you said attention has become like the most important thing for all of these people, all these beat writers, the baseball writers, journalists, analysts. That's everything is just look at me,
Optics,
give me
bro.
impressions,
Optics.
give me whatever, because that's where the money's at. Really, yep. Like when you're talking to like these corporations, like they just basically like the conversation starts with how much attention is on this person, and what can we put in next to that person when the attention is on them. Right. So I get it to an extent, but when you're in a position like being one of the baseball writers for this association, who determines who gets in to this legendary sacred place, which is probably the most sacred place in baseball at this point, you have a different responsibility, and it's not supposed to be about you. It should never be about you. You have a responsibility to be non-biased, to be respectful to the game, and to only focus on the game. Now, I understand that there are extenuating circumstances for other people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that you should elect a guy who off the field was a murderer or a rapist or something like that.
Right.
Because I know people are never going to be able to reconcile things like that. I understand that. But at the same time, there needs to be some sort of gauge where it's like, we're not vilifying people for just, their political views or something like that, or something that's assumed.
Right.
And I think this has been it's been a hot button topic since the moment it came out. A lot of people went crazy. A lot of people went up. I think the current players said they got it wrong. David Ortiz himself said they got it wrong. Interesting tidbit, I think, for, Dominicans as a culture also. It's interesting because you were mentioning it, like how they're not coming to Sammy Sosa's defense.
Oh God, I'm gonna get on that one. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, they're not coming to Sammy Sosa's defense. But another guy who I feel like is getting slighted also a little bit by the culture,
Manny Ramirez.
A-Rod.
Oh, I was about to say Manny and A-Rod too.
A-Rod and Manny also.
Well, A-Rod, I feel like there was always like a rift between Dominicans and A-Rod anyway.
Exactly. There's always been something there, but I feel like this is one of those moments where you got to put that aside. This is much bigger than whether A-Rod said he wanted to play for the American team one time for the WBC.
Well, then the other thing too is I don't know if this is something like the DR community, but the first time my fiance heard him speak Spanish, she was like, "He's Dominican?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, he's Dominican." And she's like, "Oh, he sounds like an American trying to speak Spanish."
Yeah, he
I was like,
doesn't
"Oh,
sound
okay."
So that's typical. It's typical in our culture, and it's something that me personally, I've tried to fight against. I've had conversations with my wife and with family. I think we got to stop doing that. Spanish is my second language because I was born here. Same
for my fiance. Same thing. She had to learn Spanish when she got sent back. She actually attended a lot of school in DR, and they spoke no English at all. So she knew barely any Spanish, and she had to learn it in DR.
Well, see, that'll give you an advantage because you're learning there in a sense. So I'm sure her Spanish is like A1 in terms of what my culture expects. I know that there's people, that will listen to me speak Spanish and pick out little things and be like, oh, you were born here. You'll get the question you were born here, right?
Right.
Because I learned the language here, whatever. And it's I get it, but at the same time, it's we can't pick and choose who we're gonna say based on something like that. If 3, 4, 5 generations down the line, somebody here has kids who don't even speak the language at all, Dominicans will vilify them and kill them. They'll be like, how is it possible your kids don't know the language? They don't have the culture. They don't have the whatever. It's listen, maybe they prioritize them mastering the first language of the country that they lived in.
Right.
It's not that they wanted them to forget their culture, but it's that they prioritize something else first. That shouldn't be a knock. That should be a decision that parents make. But listen, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm just saying, us Dominicans, sometimes we could get real picky and finicky about shit that doesn't really make sense. And it's I think with A-Rod, that's always been a thing. And it's A-Rod, you know how hard A-Rod has really tried to cleaned that part of his image up. He went. He's with doing
Big
everything
time.
with Presidente now, whatever. It's like,
And
bro,
Felix actually talks about that on the podcast that's coming out tomorrow, Saturday. So you guys have already seen it when you're watching it. But Saturday, Felix is talking about that too. How A-Rod has, one of the things he's tried to do is really clean up his image from what it was.
Yeah.
And he's worked
right.
on that very hard.
He's right. I think I don't know if we've ever had this conversation, but let's just think back since A-Rod's last, year to now, like the amount of, remodeling he's done to his image and the public facade that he puts out there is ridiculous. His last season was like, yeah, he didn't get a farewell tour and everything, and the Yankees may have slighted him several times throughout that season.
Right.
But you didn't see him publicly complain. He didn't get in front of a mic and start bashing, Cash, Hal, anybody. He didn't bash anybody. He took it. And when it was time
That's
to
a
hang
big
him
thing
up,
to take too, because look, he would have had his 700.
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't far away.
I think people don't. What is it, 4? He's 696.
I mean, that's insane if you think about that.
Yeah,
he could have went to the Rays and said, "I'm just gonna get my
really,
4 and then retire."
It's really crazy, and he says it. He did a wonderful interview on that that Carabas and David Ortiz podcast. He interviews with them, and he sits down and he said, "I literally sat down and had the conversation with myself and decided that I would rather retire with 696 as a Yankee than 700 as somebody else with wearing a different jersey." And the respect that I had for him in that moment and the growth that I saw in that moment, that was amazing. And I'm just like, look at this, he's worked so hard to get to this point.
Yeah.
And yet people are still shunning him. People are still putting him to the side, criticizing him for mistakes of his youth and things like that. It's a joke at this point.
Big time. It is.
We should be going hard as Dominicans. We need to be going hard for Sammy, for Manny, for A-Rod. We need to stop. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just put every Dominican in Melky Cabrera is not a fucking Hall of Fame.
Right.
Let's not go. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Melky Mesa. Remember Melky Mesa? He playing for DR in the series tonight.
In the series, the Caribe, yeah. Bro, it's like I just feel like for the ones that we know deserve it, we need to go hard for them. We need to go hard.
And it's a strange thing. Let me before I go on to the other players that are retired, it's interesting. There's an interesting take on somebody that's out there right now. For an example, a guy like Robinson Cano.
Yes, sir. I was just thinking about him too.
Robinson Cano's a Hall of Famer. Stat-wise, Robinson Cano's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest second basemen, especially in Yankee history, and really of all time. If you really he's up there with the Jeff Kents and Craig Biggios and these guys. But you look at his numbers and you go, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, there's no denying that. One of the prettiest swings in baseball history. Great. When he was in his prime, there wasn't much better. For the Yankees, I remember his first year coming up, 290 something. Next year, 347, whatever it was. I mean, I just remember it because it was part of the childhood of when the Yankees made all those changes. Remember, Cano came up and then Wong was around, and then they made all these changes out of nowhere, and then it was like, was Cano ready? And they were like, well, the glove may not be. Then he's a Gold Glover, and it's like, damn. I mean, this guy's the whole package. He's everything. And
they tried it. They tried the whole lazy stuff with the glove and everything.
Correct, yeah. And then they said the whole thing happened where whatever happened, if it was A-Rod, it was whatever it was, whatever all the stories, what was their connection there? What was it? And he gets popped, and I think he got popped twice, right? Now for steroids?
Yeah.
Or
I think
for
it's twice.
Whatever it is that he got popped for. But you look at his career and you go, all right, well, look, here's the deal. He's a part of baseball, and steroids is a part of Major League Baseball. So either you sit there and you say, do we tell the game of baseball or do we not? It's to me, it's that simple. Do we sit there and do we recognize that Barry Bonds, who is the greatest home run hitter of all time, the greatest player of all time, he's arguably up there as the one of the top guys you'll ever see in baseball history.
People can make the argument that Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player of all time.
You could definitely make that argument, and you don't sound silly doing it.
You can make that argument.
So
I already have to listen to I'm sorry, but to do this, but I got it. I already have to listen to people telling me that Shohei Otani might be the greatest of all time, in that same breath, tell me that Barry Bonds is not a Hall of Famer.
Well, yeah, and honestly, as hitters, they're not even comparable. So the thing with Bonds though is I still see baseball recognize his awards. I mean, his stats. He has the most home runs ever. He has the most home runs in a season ever.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I was a little biased. I was a big McGwire fan. I didn't want him to break McGuire's record, but he did. He is the home run leader.
Yes, sir.
Barry Bonds, the home run leader. It's that simple. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to tell Major League Baseball's true story? Or are you going to keep these legends out? Are you going to keep this guy on the screen, Gary Sheffield, out?
It's a joke.
Who's one of the most feared hitters of all time.
Another Hall of Famer. Another Hall of Famer. We were just talking about his age 36 season with the Yankees. Yeah, he finished second in MVP voting.
So if you guys are watching this now, you already saw Chef talk. So you hear about Gary Sheffield's son talking about it. And for Francis, who hasn't seen it yet, I've seen it, so I just want to tell you something about it real quick. It's not really spoiling anything. But even, there was a reporter that reached out to Chef Jr., and the reporter tells him, I didn't vote for your dad because of the steroids and he was a bad defender. But you voted for David Ortiz?
The exact same two things can be said about Ortiz. He became a DH because he couldn't play defense.
But the thing is,
and he also was on the 2003 Mitchell report.
Even Sheffield said, my dad played however many, 16 years or whatever the hell it is, how many years he played in the outfield. He played.
Yeah,
he could have said, maybe I'll stick around a few more years and be a DH. He didn't do it. So you didn't vote for Gary Sheffield because he was a bad outfielder, per your opinion, and he was on the Mitchell report, but never got popped for a test, but David Ortiz did? And he never played defense?
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not the Hall of Fame anymore. This is a popularity contest. This is, these writers are trying to, flex the little bit of power that they have. And they're trying to, I think they truly feel like this is going to shift the power dynamic in their favor somehow, that like if players start to see more and more guys not getting in because they're not liked amongst the Writers Association, then maybe players will, maybe they'll start treating journalists and all these.
They should treat them.
You know what?
You want to hear
that's
something?
That's not going to happen.
They should treat them worse.
Yeah, but that is what's going to. That you think. Sorry, excuse me. You think somebody like? I'm trying to think right now. Let me see. Like, okay, Correa, hot button, super. The biggest free agent right now, whatever. This guy's known as a guy with a mouth and things like that, or whatever, who talks or whatever. Say a year from now, Carlos Beltran is on the ballot. He's on the ballot. He doesn't get in. And the reason that people are citing is that, his involvement in the Astros cheating scandal, we just thought that we could have let him in or whatever. You think that's going to endear Carlos Correa to the baseball writers more or less? I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot less. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he probably treats you worse now. Because that kind of player is like, okay, so you're telling me that no matter what I do now, because of that 1 year, 2017, you guys aren't going to want to elect me either? Nah, fuck that. And he's probably going to tell them straight to their face because we know who this guy is.
Yeah.
He has no hair on his tongue. This is a joke. It's a popularity contest. It's whether they like you or not. The issue is they like David Ortiz. They don't like Gary Sheffield.
Correct.
They don't like Barry Bonds. They didn't like Roger Clemens. They don't like Kurt Schilling. Let's call a spade a spade.
Kurt Schilling Kurt Schilling in reality, Sosa. It might be worse than all of them.
Kurt Schilling is definitely probably the most unliked of all of them.
Well, the thing is about Kurt Schilling.
They all cite that stupid comment that he made.
Well, think about how bad that is. Kurt Schilling has no steroid allegations at all attached to him.
No.
They are not putting him in because they don't like his political ideology or whatever comment that he made.
They don't like him as a person. This is
I'll quote Ozzie Guillen. This is supposed to be America, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you would think it is. So why do we have these people who feel like, well, since you have an opinion, a person who never picked up a ball, played in the, I am not allowing you in where you belong to be. You're not allowed to come in. You're not allowed to.
My thing is, it's like and this is just, it's bubbling to a point now, but I'm telling you, I can see it getting so much worse because the way this country has been divided by politics and things like that has seeped into every aspect of our day-to-day lives.
Yes, it has.
It's running rampant in sports. And my thing is, now you got a guy like Kurt Schilling in there, whatever, who, because he makes comments that would seem to allude to him being a Republican, you have people who are calling him an outright racist when that's it. That couldn't be further like from the truth. Like every Republican is not a racist. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that every Democrat is not a freedom fighter and believes in Black Lives Matter. It doesn't work that way, guys. Like it just doesn't work that way. And the fact that we're at a place now where these kind of ideologies and these kind of people who hold these morals in high regard are the ones deciding whether a guy like Kurt Schilling, who's one of the greatest playoff pitchers of all fucking time, is a Hall of Famer or not,
there's no denying it. There's no denying it. And these are coming from Yankee fans. I never thought you would tell me back in 2004, one day you'll be fighting for Kurt Schilling. What?
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. Yeah,
I said it a couple weeks ago. I was like, I can't believe we have to defend him.
Yeah, and even us sitting here saying, well, David Ortiz is a Hall of Famer. Like, we're not against these guys being Hall of Famers. And at the end of the day, too, like what you said, too, that's why people hate the media. This is why the media has the lowest approval rating ever in our country's history, and people don't trust them. You could say whatever you want about it. It's because it's so obvious what's happening. It's clear as day. This stuff is as clear as day. It's like a power grab. And I want to say this, too. I've seen many writers' ballots that were very, very good.
Yeah, that's the
So
fact.
I don't want to shun them all and be like, well, all of you got... It's unfortunate for them because I do think you're going to get more and more of a push to end the way Baseball Hall of Fame works. And I think now it's just starting up because people are sitting back saying, you punished Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and these guys, and Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa, and Gary Sheffield. Well, he's not at 10 years yet, but over 10 years? You've punished these dudes? You have the all-time hits leader not in the Hall of Fame, which is another a different story, but should be in the Hall of Fame. I think anybody agrees with it. As a baseball player, he's a Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds, as a baseball player, is a Hall of Famer. Roger Clemens, as a baseball player, is a Hall of Famer. Kurt Schilling, Hall of Famer. Gary Sheffield, Hall of Famer. This is not hard. So when you're sitting back and I'm getting ready to vote, you know what the toughest conversation, Francis, I'm having? Damn, man, Scott Rowland was really friggin' good. He was really friggin' good. Does he get in with this class? I don't know. That's a hard one. But guys like Scott Rowland,
you got 10 votes maximum.
You know, another thing, too, that I kind of been convinced on a little bit, and it's not just because of the Guillen show, because I was talking about this before that. Mark Burley's another guy that you look at his stats and the World Series and a perfect game and everything else he did. You're like, what is it? This guy is Tom Glavine much better than him?
As I'm saying, Ozzie Jr. put his numbers next to Tom Glavine, and I gotta say, I was shocked.
I was shocked too.
Similarities.
And I actually did my own research afterwards, and I'm like, this guy, I don't know. I still feel like he's like borderline. But it's one of those guys where it's like, those are your debates you should be having. It shouldn't be a debate about David Ortiz and Roger Clemens.
That's the issue that I'm saying. It's like these conversations need to be, okay, you know, this guy's numbers. Let's talk about the numbers. Like, are they Hall of Fame worthy? You have guys arguing like, oh, we don't want a big hall. I want a small hall. I'm only going to put 4 names instead of 10 names. Instead of this. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, who put you in charge of, I want a small hall? Nobody gives a shit what you want, bro. We don't care, but they want to be
there. Like,
they want to be the headline.
Did you create it? Did you build it brick by brick? Is it your creation?
No, that's exactly. I'm so happy. They act like they put the building together
for real.
Brick
it's
by
like
brick, or their grandfather did.
It's like somebody coming to your house. That's like me coming to your house, right? The first time I ever come to your house, I go, bro, that table, all that shit gotta go, bro. Like, yo, what are you doing? And you're like, man, it's my house. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're like, nah, bro, it's not enough space in here.
Place. It's
I would
not
like
your
it to
place.
be smaller.
Now you could decide on what we want to eat today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's something we're doing together as we're going out. But to be like the Hall of Fame is now mine. I got this vote. And with this vote, I am going to choose who and how and what personality they have. How do they vote politically? How do they think? That's going to be the reason how you get in. It's insane because, again, I actually, the reason I made the Sammy Sosa shirt, so if anybody doesn't know about the Sammy shirt, I'm serious about this. I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious about the Sammy Sosa.
That. Go buy that.
The Sammy Sosa screw job, the official Sammy Sosa screw job tee. You got to go get that. The Montreal screw job with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. This is the one about Sammy Sosa. And you might be saying, well, Pete, why are you not talking about McGwire too? Look, McGwire got back into baseball at least. McGwire was able to become a coach. Sammy Sosa is like the redheaded stepchild that Major League Baseball can't stand. DR turned it back on him. Everybody turned it back on Sammy Sosa. And I'm sitting here saying, I'm not going to allow it. I can't allow it no more. I can't allow the disrespect to Sammy. I watched that over again, 98. This might be, people also forget too that Castillo for the Rockies and Ken Griffey, they were very much involved in that race for a while until it kind of tailed off. So they were part of that race. And people always seem to forget both of those guys. But, well, obviously nobody ever forgets Ken Griffey. But overall...
Well, in the beginning, because it was really tight.
It was very, very tight. It was very tight for a while, for a couple of months.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then Mac would pull away, and then Sammy pulled away, and then they would just, all right, we're going back and forth. But,
what was this, the two of them?
Man, bro, I watched
and Barry and Barry's over there having an amazing fucking season.
Amazing year. And the Yankees are having the greatest
and
year in baseball history.
The Yankees are having the greatest season
greatest
ever.
year in baseball history.
And baseball is at their absolute mother effing peak. And Bud Selig knows it and is aware of what goes into making that happen.
And they literally woke up from a coma.
Yeah.
Those home runs were like a shot that woke you up from a coma from Major League Baseball.
Come on.
So I watched it, man, and I was watching Sammy, and they show his background, where he came from. They show with the White Sox and all that. He got traded. He was a prospect. Everybody thought he'd be great. Wasn't. Didn't work out. Then he starts putting things together, and then he becomes Sammy Sosa. And, man, I tell you, I guess it bothered me so bad watching it because this is a guy like A-Rod, and you could tell by certain players, they love playing the game. They love baseball. One of the things it says about Sammy is that even though Skip Bayless is talking about it because he used to cover Chicago a lot.
Yeah.
And he says, and the one thing you always know about Sammy Sosa, he was always a kid. He always seemed like a child. Yeah. Because when he was on the field, he was a kid. You could see it in him. It was like he was back home playing, but just at a bigger level. And I'm watching this thing, and I'm watching the love him and McGuire shared with each other and the way that season went. And for Major League Baseball to shun those guys, I'm going to tell you what it does to me. It fucks up my childhood. I'm not even joking. Because when I was young, it was Jeter, of course. But then it was Mac and Sosa. They were my heroes. They were my heroes. My baseball heroes were those three. And 98 to this day is the most magical baseball season that you will ever see. There was never a year like that. And I want to mention one more thing that Gary Sheffield also mentions. And I want to bring this up. Can we stop acting like they were the only guys that took steroids? You want to know what they were? They were the only guys that were good enough to have consideration to be in the Hall of Fame while taking steroids also. If they did, if they didn't, whatever debate it is. There was many guys taking steroids. Jose Canseco says 80% of the league. I don't know if you want to believe that, but I'll tell you what, I don't disregard it. I think that probably is true.
Bro, the way that McGuire had the bottle of pills on the top of his locker in plain view.
Correct, Andro.
He had the Andro in plain view.
Right.
That tells you everything you need to know, people.
Yep.
This was the year that this crazy home run chase is happening. He knows that all eyes are on him, and he doesn't think to hide it. Why do you think he wasn't hiding it? Because it was commonplace.
Of course.
It was commonplace, and the last thing on his mind was that, one day this shit is really gonna come back to fuck you up.
No, he was like, "This is cool."
They're gonna think that this is why you're so good or whatever. Mind you, you know how many other. First of all, Andro wasn't his idea. Right. That's one.
Right.
All right, and I bet you a bunch of other people, once they found out that he was on it, tried it. And guess what? They didn't break the home run record. Like, this is my big issue here is that we focus so closely on the ones who were successful and on steroids. And there's not enough focus on the ones who did steroids and don't have anywhere near those numbers.
No accolades at all. None
I brought up Melky before, right?
Yep.
With the point I was making before. He's a guy I like to bring up a lot in these conversations. Why? Because Melky got popped for using steroids. Same shit that Cano is on. Right? Why is Cano the one that that's always the headline and everything? Because Cano's actually good.
He's always been good.
Melky's not. It's not that Melky's terrible.
No, he had a great career.
You're never gonna look at Melky Cabrera and say, "Oh yeah, this guy was a Hall of Famer." Like, let's talk about. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame case, so they don't care. No, they want to go after the Canos. They want to go after the Sosas. They want to go after the McGuires. They want to go after the Bonds because they want to find a reason why you could do what you did and they can't. Exactly. That's what it boils down to.
And you know what's even sadder too? You would expect, and this is a very good point. This just popped my head from what you said, so thank you for that. You would expect the ball players would be more upset with them than the writers would be, because the ball players could say, "Damn, I could have been as good as you guys if I did that, but I chose not to."
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Why?
They all did it. They all know.
And they know.
Well,
they
look at
know
Bob
that
Gibson.
It doesn't matter
You
how
got
much
guys
they
in the
shoot
Hall of
themselves
Fame
up.
right now.
They're not hitting like Barry. They
not
know
at
that.
all. You got
They
guys
know
in the
that.
Hall of Fame right now. Bob Gibson said, well, yeah, I mean, I would like to say I wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure I would.
Yeah.
They all knew it. If it wasn't look, Ozzie Guillen said the other day, I would have took him. If I knew it was commonplace and it would have made me better, yes, I take it. Like Gary Sheffield, it was if you had a chance of generational wealth, excuse me.
Well,
why would you not do? Oh, you're taking a step. Okay, so it's gonna make me stronger. Yeah, so maybe you're a 42 double hitter a year. You might add 10 more homers. Let's do it. What's up? Of course.
Yeah.
Just gets me stronger. Yeah, if I get stronger quicker in the offseason, let's do it. But and then you got Mike Piazza got steroid allegations. Jeff Bagwell got steroid allegations.
But I put out a tweet the other day, and I'm almost 100% sure that MLB is like shadow banning me or something. It's the weirdest thing. No, because like it's the weirdest thing. Like I retweet something, I tweet something or whatever. Guaranteed, like I don't have that many followers. I'm in the 500, but like guaranteed, I put something out, I'm getting like 5 likes, couple retweets, things like that, or whatever. This one tweet, I put it out, and I waited and nothing, and so I deleted it and put it out again. And still, like, listen, no retweets, no likes, no comments, nothing. It's like, and I asked my bro, I was like, yo, go see if you see this tweet on my page. And they go and they scroll up and down the page and they don't see it. So I go to my page, I go to my profile on the first tab of the profile, and I don't see it either. I have to go to tweets and replies, and then eventually it comes up, but there's like nothing. And I was like, bro, are they shit? Because I mean, yeah, and I did say some wild shit. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but basically it was that. It was like, if you care so much about the integrity of the Hall of Fame, then how come the racists are still in there?
I've said it countless times, bro.
How come the guys like Jeff Bagwell and Piazza, who have, oh no, I didn't name them. I didn't even name them, and they're still banning me. But I said, and how come, and I said, let's not even start talking about the roid users who you already have in the Hall of Fame. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we really doing here? Like, it's like, no. We sweep that under the rug. Piazza's already in. Bagwell's already in. Let's see, but so Piazza can be a roid user and in there. Ortiz can be a roid user and in there. But Barry Bonds can't be in there.
Can I say one thing real quick? And this is actually pretty comical because I saw some people bring this up. I'm like, no, you're wrong. The baseball writers fixed racism. They fix racism. It doesn't matter for them. It's just like, well, think about it, right? Ortiz is in. He was kind to them. He's not white.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Puerto Rican. He's Dominican.
Yeah.
Bagwell and these guys, they're white. They got in. So I was laughing about that earlier because I'm like, somebody brought up like, oh, well, Bonds is more to do with. No, it had nothing to do with it. Bonds, that has nothing to do with his skin color at all. Because if that was the case, Roger Clemens would be in. Come on, it has nothing to do with Barry Bonds being an African American. None at all.
It could have something to do with that. I mean, I'll give you this. I could see you making the argument, but then you got to know that the rebuttal is going to be, well, Clemens is as white as they come. You know what I'm saying? It's like, is it Clemens like a Southern white American, whatever? Dude,
why would you not vote Clemens? Well, that's my. Well,
he's not in.
Ortiz is in. I mean, you got black players throughout history. There's tons of black players in the Hall of Fame. So I'm just sitting there and I see that. I'm like, no, it's just. Look, they didn't like these guys.
It's whether they like you. It's whether they like you or not.
Exactly. They didn't like these guys. Simple as that. Barry Bonds was not a guy that was going to say, let me give you a nice press. He would look at you and say, yeah, you're stupid. You're dumb.
Yeah. And he made them feel the pressure for what they did to his dad. He never let that shit go. And you know what?
Exactly.
I'm sorry if some people think that was a little excessive or much or whatever, but you know what? When I saw that, I saw a son. Like I would never let some shit like that go if it was my father.
And my thing is too, can I just say this? Why do they have to be nice to you?
But I'm not trying. They have to be professional. And that's my thing.
Look, I understand.
But there's a difference between professional and nice.
Exactly. And let's be real here. The writers also got to be professional. Michael Kay used to get thrown out the Yankees clubhouse because they felt like, all right, you're intruding too much.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know what I mean? So there is a time and place that it is a both sides thing. Just because you're a writer doesn't mean you're going to be in my face. So maybe I don't feel right today. Maybe I don't want to. So if I act a certain way towards you, then right away it's, oh, this guy did this. And then, after that, maybe I don't want to talk to you anymore at all. Now I want to have no conversation with you.
It's funny you brought up Michael Kay. And I don't hate Michael K. I think I put this out here several times. So don't even come with that like, you guys don't, but you guys don't like Michael K or whatever.
I'm not a huge fan of Michael K, and I'll say it.
Yeah, I'm saying Pete says it all the time. He's not a huge fan, and I say I'm cool with him, whatever. You know what I mean? But he said some shit the other day that like, I'm sorry, bro, but that has to be one of the stupidest things I ever heard come out of a grown man's mouth. I can't believe
he said a few of them.
He said, he was like, but stop saying that they're not in the Hall of Fame. They're in the Hall of Fame. And he's saying his argument is that their memorabilia is there.
What does that do?
Maybe a Barry Bonds bat is there, or a Mark McGwire home run ball is there.
Michael, that makes it even dumber that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
I was like, how could you say some shit like that? Like, do you know what it means for us Dominicans that Sammy Sosa's hat is there? We don't give a fuck about his hat. What is his name in? We want a plaque.
Hey, I'm gonna be
with his face.
I'm gonna be super liberal and woke here for a second. What would it mean to a league who doesn't have a big black presence to have an African American like Barry Bonds, known as one of the greatest ball players of all time, in the Hall of Fame that younger black kids could inspire to be like?
Not just that, with a plaque.
Give him a plaque.
Give him a plaque with his name or whatever. You know, and I'm not.
Isn't Michael K supposed to be a little woke himself? I mean, what is he doing?
I'm not even gonna hold back anymore. Because I was like, I'm not gonna go that crazy. I'm gonna chill because I know some people. Fuck that. Barry Bonds, it's not just a plaque. Barry Bonds should have a motherfucking statue in the Hall of Fame. I'm done with the whole like,
one of the greatest of all time.
Like this or whatever. No, fuck that. I don't care because anybody could take the steroids, anybody could do it, whatever. I guarantee you they're not gonna do what that man did.
No,
this man was getting walked with the bases loaded.
Let me tell you something.
Loaded.
How many home runs did Mark McGwire hit in his first season with Oakland, rookie year? He had the record before Judge, so you know it had to be a lot.
He did. It was like 30-something, right?
49.
49. Ooh.
So when they were knocking McGwire when he had his interview, and he talked about, I took steroids and whatever, blah, blah. I think it was Bob Costas did. I forgot who did it. Somebody did it with him. And they simply asked him, so if you didn't take steroids, would you have had to hit 70 home runs? And McGwire said, yes, I believe I actually would have.
Yeah.
And people sit back and go, oh, how could he say that? The man hit 49 homers in Oakland in 87.
In his rookie year.
Go look at him in 87 compared to him in 98. He was almost double the human. Okay? That's one. Two, do the same thing with Barry Bonds. He was almost double the human. Where did their talent all of a sudden just sky off the chart where you're like, wow, it wasn't Barry Bonds' fault that they decided to intentionally walk him 546 times. It wasn't Barry Bonds' fault that they were walking with bases loaded. So you could sit there and go, yeah, but he had video game characters. That wasn't his problem. That wasn't his problem. They were helping. They were walking this dude every time up. Was he supposed to just check swing and try to pop a ball over third base or something? So there's a lot of bullshit that goes along with this stuff. I mean, his first couple of years, 49, 32, 33, 39, 42. Then he got injured. Then 39, 52, 58, 34, 24, injured years again. 70, 65, 32, 29. Even when he was out on the edge and he was done, he still popped 30 homers with a horrible back. And that's McGwire I'm talking about. Barry Bonds, people say, well, you know, he was great before. Barry Bonds, having this conversation alone is stupid. Hall of Famer. McGwire, Hall of Famer. Sammy Sosa, Hall of Fame. They're all Hall of Famers. And baseball got to tuck their tail between their legs and admit the truth that they don't want to. They allowed it. They knew it. They pocketed it. And then they became weasels and fucked the guys who made them all the money they made. That should be, you want to know the truth? That should be in the Hall of Fame. You want something in the Hall of Fame? Tell the truth about what happened during the steroid era. Hold the people accountable that allowed it to happen. And you know what? If you want to sit back and go, well, they brought baseball back, then cool. They're all in the same boat. But they all need to be in the Hall of Fame together. It's that simple. If you want to tell the truth about it and you want to keep it the way it is, tell the truth. Tell us that Bud Selig knew. Tell us that they did it because they wanted to bring baseball back and it helped with home runs. They made a whole big thing about the home run. Let everybody be in the same boat. Let them all be in the Hall of Fame and move forward. Simple as that.
We need to get over this whole integrity morals shit that these people are coming with. Because my thing is like, if you're gonna do it, like just go fully one way or go fully the other, and that's it. If you're gonna fully do it,
you know why you can't do it, France? You know this. You know this just like I do. The world's not perfect.
and you're not gonna be able to prove half the shit anyway.
Exactly. What are you gonna say?
If you start going to the,
what did this Ben Verlander moron say?
yeah,
Babe Ruth burned his wife alive. He's a murderer. And he's in the Hall of Fame. And then he comes back on the comments after it. And this guy works for Fox Sports, by the way. Comes back at the bottom and goes, well, I don't really know. There's no evidence. It was faulty something. My man, it was like, what, 1915? Like,
how this is the joke.
What are we doing?
This is the joke that like, because it's like, I get it. Like, I understand. It's like, if you went back and you tried to whatever, like, even with the cop stuff, people would say like, no, like, you know, a lot of that was taken out of context, whatever. It's like, you'll never know. I mean, a lot of it sounds a little, and if it sounds believable because, you know, you look at the times.
Even that was a writer.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Like so
exactly.
Who knows?
And the only reason it's believable is because of the time that it came from. And so, like, you know,
right.
there was a lot of that running around. So it's like, okay, maybe. Got it. But let's be honest. Like, we're not going to, like, pretend. Like, I'm saying, like, we can't pretend that it's okay for David Ortiz to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not going to leave him alone on that island. Because, yeah, he's getting inducted alone this year. And since Cooperstown is so freaking close to Boston, that induction ceremony is literally just going to be a Red Sox game.
He's getting into a Mini Minosa and those guys too, and Jim Cott and those guys. So
yeah, but he's going to be like the headliner for like all those guys. It's going to be a Red Sox game over there.
Right.
But let's not pretend like it's okay that David Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame, Piazza's in the Hall of Fame, Bagwell's in the Hall of Fame, Bud Selig is in the Hall of Fame, but Barry Bonds is not. Mark
my thing is too,
Sammy
right?
Sosa is not. Like Alex Rodriguez is not. Like,
if you look at everything, right, and you go, okay, so if we're gonna hold these guys to off the field standards too, then what's the standard? Is the standard that they have to be a perfect person? They can never have a domestic violence case, which could be as little as a shove. It could be a whole misinterpretation. It could be a he said, she said thing.
A shouting match.
A shouting match. I mean, it could be any of that.
They've called for things like that, so it's like it's very hard for you.
It could be any of that. So it's hard to sit there and be like, okay, this was a really bad thing that happened, and you know. So what's the deadline? Is cheating on your wife? Is that one? David Ortiz did it, and I'm not persecuting him here. I'm not at all. But I mean, that's a public thing that happened. He got shot by a Dominican drug lord. Because of that, because he committed adultery with the guy's wife. So at the end of the day, I'm not, again, I am not persecuting David Ortiz and what he did. He could do whatever he wants. I'm not knocking him on that. I'm just simply saying there's also a lot of allegations about gambling with David Ortiz. There's of course the 0-3 failed test. So I'm sitting here saying what you can't sit there and make up a reason why you didn't vote for so-and-so, but you voted for this guy. If that's the Hall of Fame, then honestly, get rid of the Hall of Fame and let the players create their own. Do that.
It's a joke.
Do that.
I'm sorry, like it's a joke.
Francis, would you want to take your kids to Cooperstown if these guys aren't in?
No, my kids won't be going.
What's the point?
These guys aren't in. It's like, I mean, and even if they do, like, I'd be one of those assholes who like would take my kids there and then like be like really loud about, yeah, there's also this guy Barry Bonds who's better than like 90% of this entire building, but he's not in here because people didn't like him. Oh, and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, and there's this guy named A-Rod. He was a Yankee also too. Probably didn't help his case any. But like, you know, I'd be one of those assholes probably. I don't know, but it's just like I don't want to go to a place that doesn't tell the full story.
Not at all, man.
I'm not I'm not advocating for people to be removed from the Hall of Fame.
Facts.
I'm advocating for people to be added to the Hall of Fame.
Added to it, right? It's the Hall of Fame. The steroid era is a part of Major League Baseball. You cannot pick and choose. Of the history. Exactly, and you can't pick and choose. And as much as you want to say, I'm gonna sit here and tell you right now, I don't think there's any bad that came out of it. I'm just keeping it real. That's my real. I'm keeping it real.
It's not like, I think people want to compare it to the Black Sox scandal and things like that.
No, not at all.
Not
Come
that,
on
though.
now, man. They weren't throwing game. And even like another thing, and Gary, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm like giving your show. Oh no, your show already happened, so they know. Francis, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they
saw it.
You guys already saw Gary's show. One of the things too Gary said was, do we also forget that a lot of guys took HGH to heal? Yeah. Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte.
I mean, I've said to this day, if it really does help you get back on the field, and these guys are, at the end of the day, they are, with baseball being such a business, they're an investment. They're a large, large investment to your business. If you could get these guys back on the field quicker by taking HGH, and again, I'm no doctor. I don't know the full side effects of all this stuff, but I'm just simply saying, it is their choice to do what they want, especially when your organization allowed you to do it. They knew that's at the end of the day, that's it right there. They knew what these guys were doing. You all must be on the same boat. You can't be Bud Selig and say, well, hey, I didn't know. You knew. Simple as
ignorance.
that.
They pled ignorance, and a lot of them have gotten away with it, and it's whatever. But at this point, it's just like...
Well, they've also gotten away with it because we have no integrity as journalists. And that's also a problem. Not enough of them.
No, it's true.
Not enough of them. Because there was a lot of good documentaries that exposed all that. So I'm going to give the credit where it's due, but there wasn't enough guys putting pressure on him.
Baseball's backwards. It's backwards. Look at what happened. We're sitting here talking about, no-brainers in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds had 3 MVPs way before 1998. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had 3 MVPs already. 2 of them in Pittsburgh when he was as skinny as my 5-year-old.
He looked like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? These are guys. These are no brainers. Like you said, McGwire had 49 home runs as a rookie.
And look at his body.
Oakland.
Go look at his body. So hold on, Francis. Remember the sluggers of today? What do they usually do a lot of? They strike out a ton, right?
Oh,
and they bat 210.
Out there.
Something like that, right? You ever see McGwire's batting averages? Sammy Sosa's batting averages?
Oh no,
Barry Bonds' batting averages?
Yeah, they actually understood that hitting was an all around thing, even if you were a power hitter.
Well, I guess maybe I'm a little confused. I guess taking steroids makes your hand-eye coordination better. Also, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently.
I didn't know it would do that. I didn't know it would get you to swing and miss less. You'd also just start hitting way more somehow because you took some steroids. So if Joey Gallo took steroids, I'm expecting Barry Bonds numbers.
I mean, why not test it out?
I would love to. Let's prove the Hall of Fame. Let's prove to the Hall of Fame. Let's do that. Joey Gallo should be allowed to take steroids for a season, and let's see what his numbers look like.
I wouldn't even just stop at Gallo. I would say let's
get Stanton to do it.
Let's get Stanton or let's get Judge. Listen, I love Aaron Judge. I love Giancarlo Stanton. They're Yankees. I love them. I guarantee you they take steroids this year. They're not hitting 70 home runs. I can almost guarantee it. Guarantee it.
In smaller ballparks, by the way.
I can almost guarantee it. Because there's so much more that goes into it. The reason I was saying before that baseball is backwards, and this is my last point on the whole thing. The reason I was saying that baseball is backwards is because we're sitting here talking about no-brainer guys that should be in there, and baseball is like, no, they're not going in.
Right.
But a couple years ago, when everybody in the world knew that once this cheating scandal came out, it was made public, you either put an asterisk next to the 2017 championship or you stripped the team of it. Baseball said, no, we're not going to do that. And we was like, okay, so then maybe they're going to suspend some players. They're like, we're not going to do that.
We'll give them full immunity.
We'll give them full immunity because they told the truth.
And we'll never know who talked.
Okay, that's great. So in 2019, when they were, clearly doing something under the jerseys and the buzzers and all these accusations, oh yeah, we investigated that. There was nothing there. Yeah, okay, we believe you. This is why there is no faith.
Yep.
In Rob Manfred.
Yep.
This is why there is no faith in any of the leadership. This is why there's no faith.
That's right.
And this is why I say baseball is backwards. Because that's a fucking joke. It's a joke.
The other thing too, that got swept under the rug. You want to bullshit and talk about steroids? You want to do that? Cool. How about pick and choosing who gets to play with a juice ball? What's the difference? What's the difference of taking steroids and doing that? Yeah. If the Yankees played all season,
they put the steroids in the ball,
so
they could control it.
What's the difference?
I'll tell you the difference. It's worse.
It is exactly. That's exactly my point.
It is worse.
It is exactly
to take it into their hands to say no. We're gonna put steroids into the ball and then decide which teams get to play with it and when. That is worse.
Because guess what they're doing? They're sitting back saying, "Well, hold on a second. If this team wins this many games by then, we can have the playoff we want now."
Yeah.
So
that's what they want.
If the Yankees played with the ball they played with the White Sox in the Field of Dreams game, which was juiced through the gills. I wouldn't be sitting here saying Boone should be fired because he probably looked like the best manager on the planet.
They would have looked like the best. They would have looked like the best offensive team in the league.
They would have hit so many home. Look, I love Tim Beckham. Tim Beckham barely had to swing to hit that ball at the right field. It flew out hundreds of rows back into the corners.
It was born. It was gone as soon as he made fucking contact with it.
Kidding me?
And this is a thing that
we
much as
we
people
as
are talking
fans,
about it, we don't hear enough about it yet.
Exactly. And we as fans who got shows, we have a network we're doing. We're talking about this stuff all the time. We can't even get an answer, but yet we're here defending why legitimate Hall of Fame players are not in the Hall of Fame. But then we're supposed to take a blind eye to Major League Baseball. Now we'll just juice the baseballs for the guys we want. For the team we want, no big deal.
If that's the case, then I want the same conversation to come up when Shohei Otani's name is on the ballot, because he played in a juice ball season, and then he played in the season when they were deciding which teams could have the juice ball.
Somebody broke his stats down on televised games, and it's insane. I'm just saying. I don't know if there's a coincidence there.
Yeah.
His numbers on primetime televised games were through the roof.
No,
I don't know. Not taking nothing away from Shohei, but hey,
they want to, and then we come out and say that, and everybody just dubs us as haters, and it's like,
what's another? What would we be then? Because you already got called an ageist.
I'm the ageist.
I've been called a racist 600 times.
So I don't know. We've got to be somethingist against Otani.
Yeah, some sort of Otaniist.
It's not. Listen, the numbers are there. This is not like This is not opinion. This is not opinion. This is the beautiful thing is that these are just numbers. Numbers are completely unbiased. Numbers can't be racist. Numbers can't be ageist. Numbers can't be sexist. They're just numbers.
I never heard of ageist in my life.
Bro, yeah,
I've never heard of that. I heard it before. I've never heard it ever.
I never thought somebody was gonna call me that for telling them that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But it is what it is. I can't wait for you guys to see the shirt.
Oh man,
that shit. But bro, that's what I'm saying. Like the numbers are out there, and I want to see you want to see them make a case for it, but you know that they won't. You know they won't. It won't even be a thing.
No,
it won't even be discussed.
Of course not. No.
When Shohei Otani's name hits that ballot, he's gonna be a first ballot.
Bro, there's not even a push for an investigation into the juice ball stuff. The first time I heard that, I said, "What the hell?" I said, "Whoa, this is insane," and nobody talked about it.
Pete Alonso made that point where he was 100% right. He's like, "Look, they put the juice ball in the season right before a bunch of these pitchers were going into free agency."
He said it.
Right? And then the year that this crazy shortstop class and a bunch of other hitters are going into free agency,
they put a dead ball.
Pick and choose who gets the ball, and they dead in the ball.
Yeah. Think about that shit. It's crazy.
Bro, it's like, yo.
It's worse than steroids. It's worse. Man. It's worse than steroids.
Me, that's way worse. It's like, because it's the league doing it. It's like, okay, say cocaine is legal. It's not legal for a recreational use anywhere, but it's very different. A guy on the corner doing that shit and the president doing that shit.
Yeah, of course.
It's a huge difference.
I kind of wish the current president would do it a little bit, to be honest.
I feel like he might
get him awake a little bit. He's a little too sleepy over there.
He's doing downers. Downers.
Right, only downers. Moving into our next topic. This is going to be a more nice discussion, I'm assuming. But there was a new prospect list put out by Baseball America. So before we get into it, friends, I'm going to read it off for you.
Great.
The number 1 Yankee prospect is, of course, we know Anthony Volpe. Number 2, Oswald Peraza. Number 3, Jason Dominguez. Number 4, Luis Gil. Number 5, Austin Wells. Number 6, Hayden Wesneski. Number 7, Trey Sweeney. Number 8, Oswaldo Cabrera. Number 9, Luis Medina. Rounded up by number 10, Ken Waldichuk. And I wouldn't say I am an expert on prospects, but I would say I'm probably above the average fan when it comes to talking and knowing about Yankee prospects. And I'll tell you what, there's a couple of, I'm a little shocked by this list.
There were some shocks. I want to say, like seeing Gil at 4, but then Medina at 9 shocked me.
That's definitely one of them.
Austin Wells being top 5 also shocked me. Not because I know Wells can hit.
Well, remember too, Arias isn't on this list, but he would definitely round out the top 5.
Yeah, you're right. So maybe that would have pushed Austin Wells out. That would have been what pushed him out. I can see Wesneski where he's at.
Well, that's the one that gets me.
Hayden Wesneski?
Yeah, Hayden Wesneski is a very surprising one for me.
Really?
To see he's ahead of Clark Schmidt, who I know didn't really pitch much, and I get that, I understand it, but to see him not as a top 10 is kind of surprising. Him being ranked the number 2 Yankee pitching prospect? That's
over
insane to
Waldichuk
me.
and Medina.
Over Waldichuk, over
Yeah,
Medina,
you're right.
over
Clark
Yoendrys
Schmidt.
Gomez.
You're right.
There's a lot of guys on that I'm kind of surprised that he is jumped so high over.
You're right. I definitely overlooked that.
Yeah, that's
Trey
kind of
Sweeney-
surprising to me.
Trey Sweeney should be here.
Trey Sweeney should be here. Oswaldo Cabrera, you could make the case. Could be tough, but I could see him being there. I'm surprised.
He would have been like 10 for me though. Like
I think he would have been around 10. See, for me, I like Waldichuk also too, but Waldichuk to me doesn't show signs of a legitimate like top pitching prospect. He's like a guy that you hope could be a 3 or 4. And that's nothing against him because I know that that's how some prospects are that way.
And there's a lot of value there.
There's a ton of value there. But I'm looking at like your blue chippers on the top 10. Everson Pierre should be on this list. I mean, the type of disrespect that guy gets when Jason Dominguez, I mean, he tore the league up at Dominguez's age, the same leagues Dominguez is in. He's a much higher level right now at 20 years old.
Yeah.
Speed, defense, power, he got it all. To see so many guys above him on this list, that's kind of surprising to me. But am I upset about the list? No. I mean, it's a Baseball America prospect list. I'm just a little surprised that some of the guys are on it that are on it. I would have personally done it a little different.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a situation where now, look, you got Anthony Volpe, our number 1 prospect.
Yep.
Was also ranked 10 in all of MLB. So he's
could be number 1. Could be number 1.
That's what I'm saying. So what's interesting, a lot of people are going to see 10 and say, "Oh, that's pretty good." Remember, this is 10 before the season starts.
Yeah, that's right.
He's at 10 right now. A lot of people project that by the time July, August rolls around, he's battling for number 1.
Yeah, that's what everybody
says.
says.
The top 100. So, that's huge for him. Oswald Peraza definitely deserves to be where he's at. He's
No doubt.
definitely put in the numbers. He's on our 40 man. He's very interesting to see it will be very interesting to see what's gonna happen with him. If we're going to see him in pinstripes or if we're going to see him as like a headliner in some trade, in a trade of some sort. But yeah, man, Dominguez being 3, yep, get it, because the raw potential is what it is. Luis Gil did great work last year, and I think him showing what he did in the MLB definitely helped that case there.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Luis Gil being where he is.
I'm okay with that. I would love, I really would love to see Medina more this season. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I hope like we get to see him at some point, like, because he's electric. Like, he is.
I mean, this would be the year that we'll see him.
Man.
He reminds me a lot. He could really do too what Adelin Betances or what Severino did.
Yeah.
When you're like, all right, he's kind of at the innings limit. Okay, so hey, kid, come on, let's do it at the pen in the majors. Let's see what you got. Just go out there, lay it back. You don't got to worry about I got to hold stuff. Nah, man, let it go, let it loose.
Just let that shit go
and go from there. And I think you could definitely see that with him this year coming up.
It's interesting.
You guys are gonna love him though.
Very interesting.
Fans out there are gonna love him. Even if you see him pitch in the minor leagues, he got a swag about him where he's like, I'm good and I know I'm good. And he got a pitcher's body. He really got a pitcher's body. He's a guy to be excited about.
That kid is that's I think the biggest thing the biggest reason I want to see him is just the attitude that he brings. I've spoke about this ad nauseum in regards to Carlos Correa already, so I won't really go down that hole again. But I will say, like, one of the biggest things the Yankees are lacking on this team is swag, character.
Oh, no
you know
doubt.
What I'm saying?
No doubt.
We need that electricity back. We like Severino, his presence, has been missed, not just because of what they hope that he does on the mound, but his energy is what it is. Like, Sevy's energy is huge, and just having him there, like, a part of everything does change things. And so energy guys are important. And I think Medina's going to be a big guy like that. I think wherever the hell Correa goes, he's going to be a huge shot of energy to the team. But yeah, this was a nice list.
It was a good list. Like I said, I got a couple of bones to pick with it, but that's okay. I mean, that happens. I am also excited that Clark Schmidt is seeming like he's going to have a full healthy season. So we may finally get the breakout that we've been waiting for from Clark, maybe with
Hopefully.
us or with another team. You never know. So we just need this lockout to end so we can have an idea of what this. I tweeted the other day. I'm like, man, usually by now we have a good understanding of what our club's going to look like. We're entering spring training. We're about a couple of weeks away, and we have a decent idea. Right now, I feel like this roster is so incomplete that I'm definitely starting to worry me a little bit, to be honest.
There's way too many holes. Way too many holes. But that kind of gives me the hope. I said it, when we back before we ended last season. Like, one of the biggest reasons that I'm optimistic approaching it is because the roster looks the way that it does. Now, if we're in March and the roster still looks the same, you're gonna see Francis start to sweat a little bit.
Man. I can't wait to see. I want to see that Francis. Actually, I don't want to see it because I want the Yankees to improve. But if it does, I'm gonna give you the floor and be like, "Go ahead, man. I want to see this Francis."
Yeah, no, that version of me is not. Y'all got a little bit of it today, like with the Hall of Fame stuff. But if the Yankees are that close to the season with this roster looking the way it does today, the Hall of Fame thing will look like nothing.
I was about to say everybody already knows me. You know how you guys know my reaction's gonna be. It's not gonna be cute. It'll be ranting, and
we can't go into
we'll
2022
go from there.
like that.
No way.
We can't go into 22 and 22.
Well, we have entered a part of the show that I really enjoy, and guys, I'm sorry. I did it again. I did pick a NyynewsTV teammate, but I had to because this one really hits home, I think, for me and you, Francis, to be honest. So the tweet of the week is from Ozzie Guillen. I had to shout Ozzie Guillen out. The tweet of the week is, thanks everyone for watching Guillen's World, with the link to the NyynewsTV show, Guillen's World. Hit subscribe button and all that stuff. And Francis, the reason why I chose this, and I had to be a little biased on this one, is because I just want people to understand something, and you're going to probably laugh about this, maybe. Some of you might. You never know where life is going to take you. You never know. And the reason I bring that up is on July 4th, we did an episode, what is that, 7 months ago, whatever it is. And we talked about, I brought up that, man, Ozzie Guillen will be perfect as a manager for the Yankees. And then I was like, well, never going to happen because of this and that. Then we played I Got Three of Them Poppy thing and all that. And then we had the message from Ozzie and all that fun stuff. And then to understand that just a few months later, he would be on our network actively promoting his show on our network. I mean, I had to share that because I was struggling with it, to be honest. I was like, what could be the tweet of the week? I don't know. Typically, I try to retweet something that I like. I'm like, okay, good. I'll keep that for then. But I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, man, you know what? That Ozzie one, because I'll be honest, guys, like when I saw the retweet from him, even knowing that he's probably going to retweet, it's his show. Why wouldn't he? But seeing Ozzie do that and how cool he's been with everything.
Yeah.
His family, shout out to Ozzie Jr., shout out to One, shout out to Ozzie.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has been so cool about it. And for a network like us, who we know where we're going, we know where this is heading, we know the hard work we put in, but to get, we got a better manager than the Yankees do. To get a manager at the level that we got managing this club, we'd win about 103 games.
It's a fact.
With Ozzie as our coach. But
I had
to shout him out, man. It feels exactly.
It does.
It just feels good. I had to give him his flowers on that one for doing that, even though we knew he probably would. But still, everything that we've went through with talking about him and joking about it, and Ozzie getting, even when he got close to San Diego, we were like, man, I hope he gets it. I just want to see him back in baseball. And then
I think I sent a message to Junior, like after it came out that they were able to get Melvin and stuff.
Yeah.
I DM'd Junior and I was just like, bro, sorry about your dad not getting the job in San Diego. We were all pulling for him over here.
Yeah, we
were.
We wanted
him to get that.
He was very close to getting it too. So maybe Ozzie gets back in the game. But just like I said before, man, life comes at you quick, and I've always been a fan of Ozzie Guillen. That is not anything else. Again, you could go back to the episode. That's the first manager we talked about when it came to the Yankees. And he's one of the first guys we mentioned. And to have him on his network now, that had to be my tweet of the week, just because I feel like it comes full circle from things that we were doing and it became reality, which is really amazing. And it shows to the work and the hard work that we've put in to all of this. So.
Yeah, nah, man. It definitely feels amazing. Like, it definitely feels amazing. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, like, just going through the channel and seeing.
What if people told you? Have any of your friends ever said, like, damn, you guys got Ozzie Guillen on there?
That's exactly the point I was gonna make. Like, I'm going through the channel and like people are like, yo, it's not crazy to you that like you do a show on a channel and your peers are like Gary Sheffield Jr. and Ozzie Guillen and his sons and like go look at the numbers, like your show and everybody's show, like you're competing. And I'm like, I'm not like going back and looking at the numbers. Like it's just not something that I have, done right now. But I haven't really taken that stock and like really sat back and said like, damn, like look at what we're doing, because I feel like we're still like we're moving and like we have so much more that we want to do.
So much.
And so much more that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even kicked off the sponsorship.
We haven't even had baseball yet.
We got so much shit coming that I'm just like, oh, whatever. But to stop for a second and think like that, I'm working on a channel and Ozzie Guillen is on this channel and like we got all these guys on this channel, like, and everything that we put out is great content. Like I'm telling you, like it's all been good. I'm listening to the NYYST guys the day after we drop. I'm listening to the Twin Bill, bro. Like I went in the chat today, not today, this week.
Yeah,
I wanted to shout them out because I just really liked the episode this week or whatever. And I feel like there's no weak link, right? Like there's no weak links right now. Like everything is hidden. This week that we've just had, like with every show going and the Guillen's first show coming, like this week was solid. Like the only thing that was missing was Hola, ¿cómo está? I woke up Thursday morning and I didn't see that there.
I know. Trust me. Me too.
Bro.
Me too.
But bro, you said you put out the lineup the other day and you was like, this is a hell of a lineup. And I was
it's amazing, man.
Hey, it beats the hell out of that wild card lineup. That's for damn sure.
If we went back to the day we were talking about it and like that first episode when I'm putting the team together and somebody told me, hey, in like 8 months from now, this is going to be the team that you have. I'd be like, yeah, there ain't no way. There ain't no way.
How am I going to do it?
Yeah, how do you do something like that? So, to be honest, guys, I'm not even going to pat myself on the back or whatever. I don't know how. I still to this moment, I don't know how. I mean, hard work, yes, because again, I think I was talking to Ra Thompson, who is a regular of ours and does a lot for us behind the scenes. Big shout out to Ra.
Sir.
Like family at this point, man. And
yes, sir.
He said something to me that was nice. He was like, because I called him, we were talking, I wasn't responding, and he called me up, and I'm like, bro, I've just been since 8 a.m. It's like 4 now that I've been working on getting things together all morning, and I didn't get done that day till like 1 a.m. And he's like, well, people don't get to see all that. People don't get to see the behind the scenes of how all this stuff gets put together. They just see the put together part. It's like, oh, it's cool, But this takes hours and hours of work to be done.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hours and hours of work. I mean, building templates and all that stuff. And even like with Ozzie and them, they were going through something else, so they had to decide on what they were going to do. And when I got the call that we're set, we're good, I only had about 3 to 4 days notice of making an intro, of making a template, of making all the graphics, doing everything that needed to be done. And the day of the podcast drop, I mean, I was up from like 7 to I think like 3 a.m. that night, doing everything to make sure that it was ready for tomorrow. And I'm just saying, like, guys, you can work hard on anything you want to do and eventually it could become reality, because where we're at now is not where we're going to be in 6 months. Where we're at in 6 months is not where we're going to be in a year. I mean, it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. And that's why I'm asking you guys, the fan, continue to hit that subscribe button. Share it with a friend or family. I get people messaging me all the time. Can I be a part of the team? And I say, guys, right now we don't really have certain spots open, but what you could do is help. You could help. You could share our stuff. You could tell a friend to subscribe. All of that stuff does wonders for us more than you being a part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Truly. Spreading the message does wonders, and we ask you guys to do that as much as you can.
We can use all, any support, all the support. And I think, I'd like to thank you guys for the support that you've given us up until this point, because for sure, like, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have any support whatsoever. So you guys have definitely showed up and showed out. I'll be honest
about me. I'm a numbers driven person in the sense. So I like to see improvement. So yeah, if we were getting 15 views, 20 views, I'll be honest, I don't think I would have the drive to do it. I don't think I would have the drive to do all this. So that goes to you guys loving us. It goes to you guys loving the product that makes me want to. There's sometimes days when my fiance met shit, babe, what are you doing? Like, didn't you finish everything? Yeah, but I know there's more. I know there's something else. I know there's another graphic that could be made that could bring something else out. And I'm always working on different stuff like that. Like now we got the sponsorship with Manscaped, so I got to go work on those graphics, and I got to have that done soon. So, you know, we got all this fun stuff coming. So, yeah, like I said before,
coming.
Man.
That will be coming this week, right?
Ozzie gets to lead it off. Ozzie Jr. and hopefully I think Onay will be back from his honeymoon
nice.
then. So I think he'll be back. So we'll have the full house in there, and they'll have the whole Manscaped thing kicking off. And we'll be actually the last show to start the Manscaped thing. And I'm so upset about that, man, because I want to talk about balls.
The year. Yeah.
I want to talk about balls. Man. Your balls will thank you.
We kicked off the year, bro. And we're the last ones that are going to kick off
No, we're not
the
actually.
Sponsorship.
I'm wrong. Are we? No, we're not. NYST is going to be the last because they got stuck on the 31st.
Oh, yes, because they're on the 31st.
They get stuck on the 31st.
So the first show of February 1st is the Guillen's World.
Guillen's World,
right,
yeah. Yeah, so the Guillens will kick us off on Thursday. And yeah, man, that's Manscaped, guys. We're going to have a hell of a good offer for you guys. Every podcast is going to have their own. So by all means, you know, we're going to have a little friendly competition, I'm sure. You know, we're going to go at each other.
Sir.
We're going to go at each other. So it's
this
fun that we get to do that.
This is not Boonies Yankees.
This is not Boonies Yankees. We want competition among peers.
We welcome competition.
We welcome friendly competition.
Yes, sir.
You know, we welcome that. So it's not going to be, you know, designated spitters versus NYST in a no-hold-barred match. We're not doing that. We're not doing a steel cage match.
No.
But no, we're going to have the friendly competition to see who can get it. We're excited about it, though. And definitely excited to talk about the products because thank you to Manscaped, man. They sent us all some amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah, facts.
Way more than I ever expected. I didn't expect all that.
My balls did thank me.
My balls definitely thanked me. No doubt about it. And I got a lot to talk about. I might have to put like an X rating on there on the next episode.
Yeah, we just
might have to be a Simonetti After Dark.
Right before the read, it's gonna be like this portion of the podcast is brought to you by.
Oh man,
that's gonna be rough.
Shit, that'll be hilarious. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to see everybody's because look, to be fair, not everybody got me and your personality. You know what I mean?
True.
And that's not,
it's very different.
People are different. We are all different. That's the cool thing about this. So I want to see how the twins pull it off.
The twins is the one I think I'm most anxious to
I want to see how the twins pull it off. I want to see how Ozzie is Ozzie Senior gonna talk? I want to hear Ozzie Senior talk about Manscaped.
If Ozzie, I think if I'm a betting man, I say Junior does the first read.
I think Junior does it. He'll do the first read.
I think Junior does the first read, but I could see like them rotating. I think everybody should rotate because I want to hear everybody do it. I want to hear everybody
Felix.
Felix, I can't even imagine like what he's planning for that rollout. Like,
you guys already saw it, and Francis, you saw it too. You know the podcast out there, Locked On Yankees?
Yep.
This dude did a thing. He said, brought to you by Manscaped. Locked on my balls. Locked on my
Oh, nah. What is happening?
What
is going on?
By all means, that's not the Manscaped promotion yet, but he just said it in that segment, but it's hilarious. You got to hear it. That's just funny, man. And the whole episode, everybody already saw it already, so you guys know what happened with the whole Hubbard Smith thing, the big Adam King surprise. You're going to see all that. But yeah, man, if you want to sign us off, we are good for another episode of DS.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know. Your boy Francis Lee with the great Pete Simonetti, a.k.a. the Simonetti Source. And the next episode will, in fact, be the best episode.
It always is, and you know we would never come whack on a designated Spittaz track. Guys, thank you so much for everything you do. We will see you next time. Talk to you later.
Before it hits the front page.